Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the very big top 10 list of best games of 2021. I have done another top 10 list which were for the games on budget, all the games which were $25 or $20 or less. But this list is going to be the main list which does not consider any limitation. The only caveat is going to be that these are the games that were released on retail in 2021. So any Kickstarters that were done in 2021 or were promised in 2021 but not available at retail or maybe are just being released right now, those are not available in this list. To me, this is my list. Again, people's own preferences change from person to person and based upon their game group as well. So, for example, my game group, who I play with, we are not really that much playing heavy Euro games or heavy area control games. So, those games may not be in this ranking, but family games is going to be my forte because my majority of the gameplays are going to be with my family, and accordingly this list is heavily influenced by that, so keep that in consideration. Another caveat is going to be that this list does not contain any second editions or revised editions, so games like, for example, Kemet Blood and Sand isn't going to be featured because even though I'm going to love the area control aspects of Kemet, but this is a second edition, thus is not qualified for this list. So these are all just new games purely released in 2021. So with all that fluff out of the way, let's get on with the list. At number 10, before I go to number 10, I do have an honorable mention which fits slightly in that area control kind of category, just because I love area control, but my wife doesn't like area control games. So that's why I had to put one game on honorable mention, which is Ankh. This was the you can say the sequel to Blood Rage, but of course it's an entirely different game. And you are going to control different lands of Egypt in Ankh. The mechanism that I found really fascinating in Ankh is that how you can divide the territories at different stages and then accordingly take control of the smaller territory. So it's not bound by the standard rules of your area control. And that was really fascinating for me. I know there was some controversy regarding its merge mechanics, but to me that's a small minor thing. And well, if you don't like it, I always say go with the house rule, don't use a merge mechanic, just keep playing the normal game. But anyway, so to me Ankh was an honorable mention. If my wife had played more area control games, then maybe Ankh would have been higher up on my list. But with that honorable mention out of the way, let's go on with the number 10, which is After the Empire. After the Empire is a unique tower defense kind of Euro game. What each player is going to get is a castle of their own. They will be building walls, and they will be building walls using Euro mechanics. So you will be gathering resources, doing different kind of Euro resource exchange things. You gather these resources, get gold to actually hire mercenaries, get soldiers, and at the end of the round, you're going to actually flip some cards to find out that where your castle is going to be attacked. And all the players are going to face this. Why didn't get as much love is because of the randomness of the armies that are going to attack, so that you can prepare it properly. If you prepare too well, you might be wasting resources. So you just want to be barely make it enough without wasting resources. So there was some slight luck element to it, but the components, the concept of the game was so fascinating that you are building these actual plastic walls and then trying to defend it from different attackers that are going to come and siege your castle. So overall, the whole concept is very good. So on my number 10 is going to be After the Empire. On number 9 is going to be Maglev Metro. Now, the board game genre is filled with train games, and Maglev Metro just came into a crowded genre, I think at the wrong time. Maglev Metro had some unique concepts with it, But the most unique element in this one, this was a route building, pick up and deliver. You will be picking up passengers or robots and then delivering them to different destinations. But you will be at the same time, you have your own board where you will be upgrading your engine and your efficiency of running those trains. But the most unique concept in this one was that when you are making your own routes, you're using these clear tiles which have colored lines on them. And that makes it so if you have played Ticket to Ride, you only one person can play their or make a track on one route. But in this one, any number of players can make routes because these are clear tiles and having different kind of patterns of arcs of different colors. So on the same location, multiple people can place their clear tiles on top of each other, and you will be able to see all the map. Just like by the end, you will have a map like a subway map, and the map still works. And that was a really unique thing that came out of Maglev Metro. Now, number 8 is going to be Adventures of Robin Hood. When the year started, this game was on my highest, number one, most anticipated game because of the pedigree. I love Legends of Andor, and this was coming from Michael Menzel, the same designer, another co-op game set in a fantasy universe. So I was really excited. I do like Robin Hood IP as well. And but why it's slightly lower on the list is because the game is too light. It's still a good game. It's still in the top 10, but it's only recommended for the families. It came with a hard book with the narrative story. What you will be coming back to the game actually. What you will be getting in this game is it's a dual layer board with different windows like the advent calendar with different windows. And if you have played, for example, Legends of Andor expansion pack, the C1, I don't remember the name. It had that kind of windows in for the ship as well, that if you upgrade the ship, you can actually take the tile out, flip it, and now your ship is upgraded. Similar kind of mechanism he used in these boards, that the board had different kind of windows tokens which are built into the board, and maybe at different times when you actually go there, the game will ask you to flip, and now if you flip, there is an artwork of a carriage now on that side. So the board is evolving. So even though it could have been represented by different tokens that you put on the board, these tokens were built into the board itself. So that was slightly a unique thing, and people would love to play with that. But on a gameplay wise, it is slightly less puzzly than Legend of Andor, which was my expectation, that I will get a good thinky puzzle game like Legends of Andor was. So it's slightly lighter than that, but it's still a fun adventure game that you get to play, a whole lot of narratives that you get to go through. Sometimes it does feel like, okay, just reach at some location and something will happen, and that's all you can do in this one. And that was slightly negative for the game, but otherwise it's still a fun game for families. So that's my number 8, Adventures of Robin Hood. On number 7 is going to be Land versus Sea. This is very similar to Carcassonne. It's a tiling game, and using the tiles, you are trying to make some shapes. So one player is going to be, this is basically a two-player game. You can play it with three, but basically a two-player game where one player is playing as the land and the other player is playing as the sea, and you are trying to actually enclose your shape. So on the same tiles, you will have some patterns of land and sea. And what you will be trying, so as a C player, for example, what I will be trying to do is trying to enclose an area and complete a C body are surrounded by land, and then I get to score that. And when I score that, there are going to be different symbols on those C tile, for example, which can increase the scoring opportunity as well. The third player plays the cartographer if you want to play with the third player who is actually playing against both of them and doesn't want the land to be completed. And that's land versus sea. So if you like Carcassonne, land versus sea is going to be the natural next step, and a fascinating game reminiscent of the old era, but for the new world. On number 6 is going to be Furnace. Now, Furnace is a light game. I will not call it even medium game, because It is going to be again a resource conversion game. You need coal to actually operate some factory to make some other goods. But what you're doing is using these cards which have different actions given on them, and you are bidding on them. Now, bidding games are normally difficult for many people, but the bidding mechanism in Furnace is very, very unique. Every player has these tokens which are 1 to 4, and whoever plays the highest token on a card, he gets to win that token. Another player cannot place the same token which someone else has played. But the unique thing is that if you have placed a 3 token, now you know the other person has to play a 4 if he needs to win. But if he plays the 4 token, what you're going to get is, since you were bidding 3, you will get, even though the factory was supposed to convert coal into something else, the basic resource was coal. What you will get is 3 multiplied by the coal. So you will get 3 coals, what was on the card. You will get 3 coals, for example, to yourself. So you are not going empty-handed. And many times that's exactly what you want. You want people to outbid you because you want the resource, because that resource will help you run some of your other factories that you have already built in your Tableau. And that kind of mechanism is really interesting because maybe you're trying to put some tokens on, or bidding tokens on one of the cards, and you really don't want to actually get the card but just get the resource, and you are trying to push others to bid on that. So it's slightly mind games, and that makes this game, it's a small game, even though it comes in a medium box, but it's still a small game, and quickly you can play it as well. So that's my number 6, Furnace. On number 5 is Juicy Fruits. Now, when I looked at the cover and heard the name, I wasn't interested in it because I thought, yeah, well, it's a game for kids. But in this one, they came up with some unique mechanisms as well. You will have a board, and actually what you're trying to do is you're trying to run a fruits juice business kind of thing, and how you will be collecting resource is actually fun mechanism, because you are actually kind of running with baskets under trees. So you will be moving these basket tiles or fruit tiles under some area, and whichever length that you run through, you will get all those fruits. So you might be getting multiple apples, oranges, watermelons, different kind of fruits you will be getting in your basket. So the longer you can move your tile, the better it is. And you will be making spaces on this board, this moving mechanism. So it's like kind of a slide puzzle. But once you have these resources, then there is another mechanism of buying shops or investing in ice creams using those fruits. So maybe there are different stalls that you want to invest in. You can invest in a smaller shop right now, or try to collect more fruits and invest in a better shop. And those kind of economical decisions are going to come there as well. So that's my number 5, Juicy Fruits. On number 4 is going to be Roll Camera. This is a co-op movie making game. In this one, you will be using dice, and what you will have is different scenarios that keep coming up and different events that keep coming up. So for example, you want to make a movie, and the movie has to be shot in a certain way. So you need camera to be set up in a different location, and you will have to place things on this grid tiles to actually match the kind of scenario that you're trying to build. And if you're able to build that scenario, that light should be here, actors should be here, and camera should be in this location. So you will have a list of different objective cards that are there, which are going to tell these are the scenes we want to shoot. And if you can make that kind of pattern using the dice, then you will be able to claim that you have made that scene, and that scene can go into your film. But in each of the rounds, you're also going to get different kind of bad events where you're running out of budgets, the actor has gone crazy and not willing to work for you. So you will have some meetings at which each character will be pooling, or all the people are pooling actually their ideas to come up with a solution to that, and giving alternate position. So that's why different abilities or different players are going to come into play. So even though these kind of events are normally, or random events are normally not liked, But in this game, it somehow works because it is realistic to the actual world scenarios that can happen in the movie. Plus, you will have that puzzle that you want to try and make a very good movie. There are going to be different genres. And if you're failing to make a good movie, you can actually make a really, really, really bad movie and it will become a cult classic as well. So that's another way of winning the game as well. So a very unique theme, and that's why it's my number 4 roll camera. Now, number 3 is going to be Merchant's Cove. Merchant's Cove is a big game, but a light game. In this one, each person is going to play some mini games on their own. So there is a solitary multiplayer component in this one because each player has a different puzzle that they are trying to solve. So maybe one player is playing like a potion explosion game, the other one is doing some resource conversion game, and these different games that everyone is playing, there is chronomancer, there is, even with expansions, there are many more classes or many more mini games that have been added to this overall game Merchant's Cove. But even if you get base game, you will still have 4 different games that are in the base game. Now, what everyone is trying to do is, at the end of the day, by playing their mini games themselves, they're trying to make goods. And then there is the common board in the center where different merchants, where different buyers are going to come and you're going to offer them goods. And you will have some information getting added to that main board, that what kind of customers are going to come, and you're trying to divert these boats. These customers are coming on these boats, divert these boats to different location, that where do you want these customers to come, because that's what they will be buying. So there are different sizes of goods and colors of good. In the end, doesn't matter what product you were playing or what mini game you were playing, in the end, it's just these goods types which are put in different categories that you will be producing. And if you can sell more than your other merchants, then you will get more points and in the end be the winner. But it's a beautiful production, beautiful ships that boats that you get to build. Overall, it's a very, very beautiful game to look at. And of course, mini games that everyone gets to play and maybe try a different time with different characters, and you're getting a whole new experience while playing it. So that's why it's my number 3, Merchant's Cove. Number 2 is going to be Sleeping Gods. This is a new game from Ryan Lockett, who is famous for his narrative-based deep adventure games like Near and Far, Above and Below, and this one is no different as well. In Sleeping God, you are a steampunk ship who has been shifted into a mystical world where if you now need to return back to your land, you will have to use these totems, find these totems across different islands and wake up the gods so that they can send you back to your actual world, because you have come from the real world into this mystical world. Now, each of these characters are going to have their own abilities. You will be going through different kind of D&D like attribute checks. When you go to different island, it's an adventure book. It comes with the adventure book. So you will be doing different checks of abilities and tests during that. Plus, you will have your own ship that you want to manage and maintain. At the same time, then there is a combat mechanic in which you can fight the enemies and reduce their health or attack their abilities as well, so that maybe you want to remove that ability or attack power of an enemy and then attack their health. So these add a little bit more layer to the basic adventure game that you will be playing. But the main core or essence of the game is going to be the narrative booklet that you will be going through. You will be taking notes, what islands, what locations you have visited, maybe some island you visit and you cannot do that right now and you have to return back. Make a note of it, because it's a whole giant campaign. It's not small games that you will be playing. It's a giant campaign. You can save it anytime and then continue playing it as well. So that's my number 2, Sleeping Gods. And our number 1 is going to be The Initiative. The Initiative got some flack, actually, I will say, in the media, because of who the designer was. Koreginska is very famous for heavy games, and maybe people expected that. But if you don't know the designer, if you don't know his pedigree, and you're just playing the game as an independent game without any perceptions of what you expect from the game, then for families, this I will recommend as well. My favorite game of 2020, The Initiative. What this game presents is that it has some kind of meta theme that you are playing some kids who found a board game like Jumanji at somewhere, and then you bought it and then brought it back, and then you have been involved inside the game too much. But then there are some government agents who are tracking you, that who has bought this game. And I will not go beyond that mystery because that is part of this game. It is a campaign game where this mystery will be revealed to you through comic books. So it has a comic book narrative. The game itself is light, where you will be moving across a room and using cards, numeric cards, to actually decide what actions you are going to play. So there is some card play mechanism that you can again go in detail and find out how it works. But the card play mechanism is unique as well, that limits the actions that you can do. You're playing it co-op, trying to move around the board, pick up these secret information tiles, and these secret information tiles is going to let you flip one of the puzzle windows. That puzzle aspect is the most interesting part of this game, because it has like Wheel of Fortune like windows where you get to reveal. Once you have enough information, you can reveal one of the windows. Okay, this is this world. You will be placing cards in this window one for each of the mission, and these puzzles are going to evolve as well. But once you flip these, so maybe you are seeing few of the letters that come out of these windows, and using those you're trying to clue up what is it making. You don't have to solve all of it, even if you can make sense that now this is the solution that is being formed, you still get to win the game. And that puzzle aspect is the really fun adventure. But I will surely say that do go through multiple missions, because then the story is going to actually get you involved in the game. So it's a very light and family weight game. So if you're looking for a heavy Euro game on this list, a heavy puzzle game, then this game is not it. But when it comes to fun for the families, to me, this was the highest recommended game that I can tell for 2021. So that's a wrap. I have covered and given you my top 2021 games. And once again, these games do not cover those small dinky games, card games. And if you want to have a look at my top 10 games of 2021, which were small, budget friendly card games kind of thing, then there is a separate video which you can check out. Well, that's it for me. Hope you like this list. Leave in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe because it really helps me out. Subscribe, like, and press the notification bell icon so that you can always get notified when a new video is uploaded. Thank you very much and happy gaming.